that I just shared with him that the purpose of life is to play and have fun. So if you're not playing and having fun, what does that mean? You're not living. Thank you so much, Reverend Juan. I assume you're here for both services. And I want to thank you for the opportunity to be here today. And I want to thank you. See, people don't understand that those who lead ministries need to take time for themselves. You cannot give if you have not received. So let's give Reverend Juan some love. Unity of Miami Gardens, Unity, Light of the World, Unity on the Bay, Universal Truth Center for Better Living, spiritual centers. All of us are seeking to hear the Christ in us. We are not separate and apart. We are one. Do you all understand this? The new thought I just shared earlier, that if Tina Turner had known about New Thought, she wouldn't have become a Buddhist. She was looking for what we have and what we share. The first word in the title of your ministry is what? Uh-oh. Reverend Juan, we're doing it again. That's an A minus. The first word. Oh, who got that? You get chocolate. The first word in the title of your ministry is unity. You have such a wonderful ministry. Jason has been just absolutely marvelous. Dale, and you know, I have a gentleman at the Universal Truth Center whose name is not Gabriel, but I named him Gabriel. And then I come to Unity on the Bay, and guess what? You have a Gabriel. Thank you so much for your love. Thank you for your love. This is a really wonderful consciousness that I'm experiencing here. And I want to congratulate you for holding down the core of love. One of the ways that God expresses, and this is why music is so crucial for me, is through harmony. If anyone in this music ministry was out of tune, guess what? You would know it. You hear what I'm saying? Harmony. The beat of the universe, our oneness with God. If anyone is offbeat or out of harmony, you would know it. The important thing for me is for you to understand if you are offbeat in your thinking, if you are off tune in your thinking, in your speaking, guess who knows it? You do. The important thing for us to accept and know is that we have the power to change. This morning, I'm asking you to change a concept. The title of the lesson today is Love is a Force. not a feeling. When I shared with Reverend Juan what I was speaking about today, I cited, by the way, where is Isaiah? Is he in here? I met an 11-year-old who is a prophet. I love him. He gravitated right to me. Are you here, Isaiah? I want you to know how important you are. But when Reverend Juan asked me, I immediately thought of Tina Turner. Again, and I will quote her in her song when she says, "What's love got to do with it?" And then, those of you who are Tina fans, what did she say love was? She said it's only a what? Second-hand emotion. Not only is an emotion, it's what? Second-hand. But when we really understand that love is an emotion, and it may be, and it's a physical expression, and it may be, but this morning, I want you to join me in my mantra for the year. And my mantra is 2 words. If you don't hear anything else that I say this morning, I want you to remember these 2 words. Go deeper. You say that with me? Go deeper. Only you know what that means for you. But take away, go deeper. The scriptural foundation, by the way, you tech people are absolutely marvelous. The scriptural foundation for this lesson, and I come from a Bible-based church for thinkers, a Bible-based teaching. The scriptural foundation is from 1 John 4:8. And it says, anyone who does not love does not know God, because what? Oh, 3 words. Say it again. One of the ways, as I shared with you, is that I experience God through music. And the songs that propel this lesson, that kept waking me up, anytime I accept a lesson assignment, songs wake me up. And the 2 songs that woke me up was Love Makes the World Go Round. The second one was Love Will Find a Way. So what does that mean? I want you to look at the thesis for the lesson this morning on the next slide. Can you read it with me? You cannot get out of God. So what is God to you? That's what's important to know. You cannot get out of God, but then you have to decide what God is to you. And I told this story this morning, but it's supposed to be a true one. It's about a little girl, 4 years old, and her father came into her room because she was being very quiet. And she was drawing. And he said, "What are you drawing?" And she said, "I'm drawing God." And the father said, "Oh, nobody knows what God looks like." And her response was, "They will when I finish." So what is God to you? That is crucial as we make this walk through this life. There are so many concepts of God. I want you to go to the next slide. God I want you to know, doesn't know anything about religion. That's hard for some people to accept, knows nothing about religion. I would go into the building of a church and why it was built and what it does, but I'm not going to do that at this point. Just for you to know, God knows nothing about religion. God knows nothing about language. God knows nothing about what country you come from. God knows nothing about age, race, or gender. Or as my millennial assistant in the seminary says, God knows nothing about body parts. God knows nothing about labels that people give you or that you accept. My son told me once, said, we let people label us and then we bust our butts, and he didn't say but, we bust our butts trying to fit the label. God knows nothing about that. God is. And Scripture says God is spirit, and those who worship, worship in spirit and truth. My spiritual teacher is the Reverend Dr. Mary Tumpkin, and she always taught that if you want to live that God intended, the life that God intended you to give, the one of health, wealth, and happiness, you must learn to work in the invisible. If you want to live the life that God intended you to live, a life of health, wealth, and happiness, you must learn to work in the invisible. The title of this lesson is God is a Force, not a feeling. Force is how the universe works. And I shared this morning, you all have to understand when you're listening to teachers, you need to know where they're coming from. I'm a left-brain person. If you can't put it in a formula for me, it's hard for me to understand it. So if you give me airy fairies, I'm saying, what's the formula? So I can work it. Give you a definition of force in the next slide. That's point 2. Force, let's go in the invisible to the next level, is a push or a pull of an object that causes the object to speed up, slow down, or stay in one place. Love is a force. What I've learned in studying is that this universe, and you all know this, but I'll remind you, we understand that this universe is always expanding. Have you ever heard that before? Always expanding. We're finding new things. We're finding new planets. You have people who are looking at through the telescope, and I remember the Hubble, I don't remember the next, we've gone even past the Hubble. But we're always observing, and the universe is always expanding. So if the universe is always expanding, and I'm a part of the universe, what does that mean? And you're a part of the universe, you're doing what? Always expanding. Love as a force is always pushing you to the next level. Always pushing you to the next level. That's how all of you all got. See, I do know this. Very few of you in here were born and raised in the New Thought teaching. Is that correct? Very few. I was raised as an Episcopalian and then was unchurched, and then I found out that people say, well, if you were in the Episcopal tradition, you were always unchurched. Point being, the universe, the force, is always pushing us to expand. If you're not moving, you're dying. You're not living. You can't play and have fun because you've decided that you're not going to do it anymore. I don't use the word retire. My mother asked me some time ago when she retired, she said, does that mean I'm tired again? And I said, I don't think so. And then I thought about that. I said, well, if I tell the universe I'm tired again, it can respond, oh, we're through. Oh, I don't want to do that. I may change careers. I've had about 12 of them, but it's not going to be that I'm tired again. Watch what you say to the universe, because it will always expand, and it will always answer, give you what you want. The next slide. When Tina says that love is a second-hand emotion, she's talking about feeling. Now, we understand that feeling is a part of who we are. It's in the subconscious phase of mind. This is how we receive. This is where our feelings are. But we are not only our feelings. In our teaching, there is a balance between the thinking and the feeling. You've heard this before. Between the thinking and the feeling. And when those two things agree, then there is a manifestation. So when we have whatever it is, when you think of something and you feel something and you think of it, all of it comes, you draw everything to you that you need to manifest it. Love is a force, not a feeling. Charles Fillmore presents an expanded concept of love, and he said that love is the idea in the divine mind of universal oneness. It's the faculty of mind that joins and binds in divine harmony the universe and everything in it. Get this, this is Fillmore. We are Fillmorians. It is the great harmonizing principle. When I got into this teaching, I went to study the Bible, not from a historic or a literal perspective, but to find the principle. There is some reason that it is still the greatest book because it has principle. And what Fillmore says is it's the great harmonizing principle. And the harmonizing principle says it moves us for a balance with the male and the female aspect of our being. And this balance leads us to the life of health, wealth, and happiness. Until we recognize that one is a whole number and follow the teachings of Jesus as he identified loving our neighbor as we love ourselves, that life that we say we want cannot be realized. Let me give you a scripture, and then I'm going to do a little exegesis of it. It's Mark 10, 6 through 9. And listen to it from a spiritual perspective. And it reads, from the beginning of creation, God made them male and female. For this reason, the man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become a flesh. So they no longer are two, but one flesh. Therefore, what God has joined together, no one can separate. Now, we're not talking about people here. You understand me? We're talking about ourselves, our feeling and our thinking nature. This is not about two people get married. Sometimes we get all this twisted. When you look at the principle, you're going to see that there has to be a unified thinking and feeling nature in us, not out here. Remember, when it says what God did, we're saying God is a force, not a feeling. I live in South Miami, and I shared that this morning. And South Miami is a wildlife preserve. And which means we have a lot of wildlife. Double entendre, that's true. At any rate, I have the opportunity to observe peacocks, and they are really very interesting to observe during the time where they're getting ready to mate. So during that time, the male peacock, anybody ever seen a male peacock who's seeking to mate? They are absolutely beautiful. Their plumes are out here, and it's everywhere. So I watched this male peacock going through all of his stuff, and the female was going about her business. She was looking for worms. Every now and then she'd look over her shoulder and see him, and I'm telling you, he was really prancing. And she'd turn her back. I'm talking to us now. The male represents the thinking nature. And the thinking nature, as we study the principles, we are looking for that God experience. The God experience comes through the subconscious phase of mind, comes through the feeling nature. So we read the principles, and we're out there saying, well, you got to do this, and I'm telling you the truth. Just going on, and she was going on finding this, and look over there, and some more worms over here. But here's what I knew. There will come a time when the feeling nature will say yes. And when that feeling nature says yes to our thinking, you hear what I'm saying? To our goals. But you can't do it until the feeling nature says yes. You can do this. And then the demonstration comes. Too often we forget that our teaching is a metaphysical one. It goes beyond the physical. Our assignment is to learn how to work in the invisible and to allow or to know that as we study to show ourselves approved, as you study the principles of New Thought, there will come a time when the feeling nature will say, yes, you can do this, and demonstrations come. Thank you so much for your time and attention this morning. Remember to play and have fun.
Thank you so much for visiting our YouTube channel. We post new videos every week to keep you positive, present, and inspired to your divinity. Please click on the subscribe button below and also that notification bell. Remember to share this with your friends and your family, those that you know will be inspired just like you have been. And always remember that we love you, that we bless you, that we behold the Christ in you, and we see you doing great things. Thanks and take care.